I hate to speculate, but, we have the most transparent administration in American political history. So you're left to speculate based on the evidence and based on, past history of the government, of people. Not just a government. It's freaking people. It's the nature. It's their mindset. It's the culture. The teachers are there to program the students to think the way that, they've been programmed to think. And you must not disagree with it. You're an outcast. You're a miscreant. You will not be tolerated. So a little kindergarten teacher doesn't know what to do. Poor little kid, he doesn't want to be programmed. She doesn't understand the fact that the kid's got a goddamn mind of his own. So she calls the police. I can't handle it. He's violent. He needs a Tea Party member. All right, ma'am. We'll take care of this little varmint. This little rascal. Jesus, God damn it. There's still more stories in here. I don't know if I'll ever shut up long enough to get to it, but what I wanted to get into today, the scuttlebutt of the day, but that's what happens with these liberals, man. You start talking about them and blasting off into deep space frickin' nine. But this kid that shot up this college town and stabbed him and ran him over with his car, and he made that video. I watched it Saturday, Saturday about afternoon sometime. And I didn't even hear about the shooting yet. On Saturday, I said, screw it. I didn't want to get involved in anything. I didn't want to listen to radio, TV, nothing. But I couldn't resist it. And so in the afternoon, I turn on the goddamn computer. And there's this video. Now, what the hell? So I watch it and I go, this guy's just something's wrong. And so I stopped it and I read the thing and it said, there was a shooting in this town, Isla Vista, in California. And I said, okay, let me go. I went back and watched the video. Then he went on and on and on. This was like about an 8-minute one, 9-minute. It was the one in his car. I'm sure everybody's seen it. But I'm watching this, and then he starts going, and I go, you know what? This guy sounds like he's repeating what his psychiatrist has been saying. It just sounded like that. It was too... I don't want to say that I use the word clinical, but in that same kind of vein, that same kind of level. But it was too, I don't know. It just didn't seem genuine to me. And I just went, God, I could just, this guy, obviously he's shot up, he's dead already. But I could just imagine, this guy, I just figured right off the bat, this guy has seen shrinks galore. None of them know what the hell to do, so they just keep prescribing him more different kinds of drugs. Maybe that'll work. Maybe what will work? They're people. They can't be programmed. And the program you're trying to program them is just idiotic. I don't get it. Just people think that they can help. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes people are just gone. Maybe you can help them. Seems like the parents wanted to help. They called the cops at one time. Maybe they should have gone over there with the cops. Who knows? You can't really, you're a parent. You can't really second guess, but, maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. It's a sad frickin' story from every angle. His family, I'm sure, they lost too, man. Sorry, I hate to say it, but they did. All the victims that he ran over and stabbed and shot, not only did the whole families, they all got families and friends, the whole school. So there's a lot of victims in here, not just the 6 that were killed. These kinds of things that, but it's not a time that, okay, fine. If there's a smoke, there's a, I hate to get into this argument, but everybody's got to play this blame game. Because anytime that something is very horrific, first of all, people don't like, they just don't like, that's too much. It's an overload. So they want somebody responsible for it. Somebody must be punished. Somebody must hang. Well, look, I get it. I understand. But sometimes that blame game and that hang game, it gets too easy. So that's one of the reasons why we have a judicial system, but it's part of the Constitution, so it doesn't count anymore. But everybody wants to point the finger and assume and accuse and blame. Somebody's got to pay for what? A lot of people's got to pay. A lot of people are going to pay. Is there something that somebody could have done? Who knows? Who knows? But everybody who didn't have anything to do with this family is now all of a sudden experts and psychiatrists all over these goddamn talking head shows. They all got to come in and evaluate. Well, he's just lost. Shut up. Goddamn drugs you put them on. The crap you put in their head. No wonder they're screwed up. But there's a lot of blame to go around for everywhere. And everybody, society. But, I was listening this morning. Since I don't do a morning show anymore, I now do the evening show. I'm still adjusting this time. My whole life has been around a completely different schedule than this, so it's kind of weird. But I finally got a chance to go back to listening to the radio in the morning. I love listening to the radio. I've always loved listening to the radio since I was a kid. Radio is much more personal. Television, television talks at you. Radio talks to you and with you. It's much more personal. I love the radio. So I get a chance and I get on there and that dingbat Geraldo Rivera. God damn it. This guy, first of all, I've never been able to take the man seriously. Even when I was a kid, I just could not take the guy seriously. He just never came across to me as, I don't know. I just never was able to take anything that he tells me. I know he digs up a lot of stuff, man. And I watched the hell out of him during that OJ trial too, man. That was the show, man. If you wanted anything about OJ, man, just turn on the Geraldo hour. He was on the air like 24/7, man, for 6 months for that entire trial. But, sometimes this guy, I never was able to really take him seriously. So I'm listening to the radio. Good God, can I just get to the frickin' point? So I'm listening to the radio. And it's at the very beginning, I turned it on. Obviously, it was on. I turned it on exactly at 10:05 or whatever it was. His show comes on at 10 in the morning. But it was after 10. They got all those stupid commercials and the goddamn news and the traffic report. Why did they even, look, I did radio back home. KVAN, KVAN, Vancouver, Washington. Willie Nelson actually was a broadcaster there long before I showed up, but I had the key to the station. It was great. I loved it. I was on there all the time. I was like Geraldo. I practically lived there. Loved it. Now I forgot what the hell I was talking about. Doesn't matter. Anyway, Geraldo Rivera. So I'm listening to this. I finally get a chance to listen to the radio. This is what happens with these liberals, man. I'm not even going to start talking about Nancy Pelosi. Jesus Christ. My brain will just turn to freaking mush. We'll never get anything done. But turn it on, listening to Geraldo here. And he starts talking about this wacko kid that never got laid, went out and shot up the place and stabbed people and ran them over. And I mean, the first things out of his mouth, and I just imagined right when he started talking, and I knew what the subject was. I just was like, oh my God, here it comes. And come on. I just don't need this today. I wanted a nice, peaceful show for tonight, and it ain't gonna happen. Start talking about how the Second Amendment stinks. It's outdated. What does that mean, outdated? I don't know what that means. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sitting there listening to this guy. The Second Amendment stinks. Well, here, I'm going to get to a point here. I do take the scenic route, but eventually I do get around to it. But, I mean, this is how much this man just simply does not understand, and it's mind-boggling to me, because this man is a lawyer. I mean, Geraldo, I'm sure when you went to lawyer school, I'm sure at one point somebody had to have brought up the United States Constitution. Pretty sure that they did. I don't know. Maybe he was taught wrong. This kind of stuff has been infiltrated our schools, infiltrated our society for many years. It's finally coming to a head. They started winning some elections, getting more people to get on their side because they're getting all free stuff, bringing all these illegal aliens over. They're voting for all the dead people that have been dead for 30 years. They're voting for people like Donald Duck 14 frickin' times, all these different precincts. How did Philadelphia get exactly 100% of the vote? One person in Philadelphia. Not one person. 100%. The entire city. When I seen that ditzy, he's just a slob. Axelrod. That's his friggin' name. Oh, no, I guarantee it. Oh, him and that other guy. Well, it was the other guy, too. They're both the same. They're both duffer dumb butts. They both irritate the hell out of me. You, the other, the press secretary, whatever his name is. Can't remember. Who gives a damn? They're out there. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I guarantee it. We're going to win Ohio. We're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to win Virginia. Well, they already had the votes counted. It was already done. They just had to wait for the day. They pushed the button. The computer writes it in. Boom, boom, boom. It was already done. They had all their people set in place. They go on these little buses. They drop them off precinct to precinct to precinct. I mean, some of these people are voting 10, 15 friggin' times. I'm sorry, but the vote should be, I don't know. I look at the vote as something precious, and I don't like when people take advantage of it. I know it's easy to do because you want to win, because you believe in your candidate, blah, blah, blah. But if somebody does that to you, that's taking away your vote. Well, you can't do that. Well, why? Well, because, see, we're Democrats. You can't, no, Democrats have to win. And if we lose, it's the Republicans' fault. And then he starts going on and on and on and on and on, and then he said something. I mean, some of these, I had to write them down when I'm listening. I'm just thinking to myself, my God, this guy has lost it, man. I don't care about the slippery slope. He was pissed. He was angry. He was pissed off at his opening monologue. And I'm thinking about, you don't care about the slippery slope? Well, look what's going on around you, Geraldo. This is the product of the frickin' slippery slope. That's why people are pissed off. That's why you're getting people over there in Washington. Operation American Spring. Okay, fine. We don't have millions of people there yet. But there needs to be more in every town. There needs to be more outrage. You need to have it inside. We're not ready to fight this war yet. And this is a war. And I don't mean fight, we got to go around killing people. So I don't want anybody all wigging out. But it is a war. We've got to fight. But some people aren't ready to fight yet. I guess they don't feel the pain yet. I guess they're blind. They can't see. They can't see their neighbor all messed up. Can't see their own lives all messed up. Can't remember where you put your freedoms. Honey, you see the freedoms? Huh? Who's got the freedoms? The dog eat them? Where's my freedoms? Well, they were taken away from you. You didn't notice your neighbor got his taken away. While you were taking a nap after watching the Kim Kardashian show, eating 14 bags of goddamn Cheetos, put yourself to sleep, and, well, little freedom monster came in and took them. And that's what happened. We all did. Hey, we had Ronald Reagan. We already got our freedoms. We got a Constitution. We got Mr. Conservative in there. He didn't complain about Jimmy Carter screwing up the goddamn country. He rolled up his sleeves and went to work. Turned the country around. We didn't, we didn't worry. Country's doing great. Economy's doing good. Militarily, we're very strong. We're the superpower of the world. No one can mess with us. We all got jobs. We all got money. We all got a boat. Go out fishing. Beautiful life. Everything is everything. Everybody gets along. Our neighborhoods. They're not all run down. Detroit is booming. They're building cars. The ghettos aren't quite as big. What do we need to worry about this stuff for? Why do I got to worry about any of this? The government can't take away your freedoms. It says so right here. I'm looking at it. It says the Constitution of the United States. Right here. It's in my hand. It says the government can't do that. Why do I need to pay attention to all this? Well, because they did. You don't need to be a constitutional scholar to read and understand the Constitution. But apparently you need to be a constitutional scholar in order to pervert the document, but certainly not to understand it. It's pretty easy. I mean, hey, look, sorry, but if a dumb old salt like me can read this and figure it out, pretty sure a goddamn constitutional scholar can. Well, that's why they manipulate it, because they have figured it out, and they don't like it. That means, well, wait a minute. That's taking away my power. Yeah, that's the point. That's why it's in here. Maybe you should read the Declaration of Independence. That way you understand why we got the Constitution. Did they talk about the Revolutionary War anytime when you went to school? Did you go to school? Idiot. But getting back to this Geraldo, I loved it when Johnny Carson made fun of him. I was like, oh, God, this is great. Johnny Carson used to be hard on him, man. Almost every night, man, he had a Geraldo joke. But he's not worried about the slippery slope, which everybody says, oh, it's not that, oh, it's not this. Well, if you got nothing to hide, what are you worried about a cop just stopping you, pulling you out on the street, searching your car, your pockets? If you've got nothing to hide, what are you worried about? Because it's none of their goddamn business. And I'm busy. I got places to go. I don't have time for this little goddamn steroided up, goddamn roid rage punk ass pulling me out of my car, tearing my car apart, looking for God knows what, finding nothing, being a dick, putting me in handcuffs, throwing me in jail, just so he can fill his quota. Yeah, I got a bit of a problem with that. Not for nothing. But anyway, again, getting back to Geraldo, Now, this, I don't have the exact quote. I couldn't remember what it was, but I got the gist of it. I got most of it. I was pissed when I heard it. I'm trying to write this down. But it just goes to show you just how much this man simply does not understand. This is what I asked earlier. If they taught the Constitution in his law school that he went to. What law school did you go to? I thought it was a pretty prominent one. I think he went to a pretty good one. Pretty prestigious one, anyway. You would think that this law school would cover the United States Constitution. I'm just, Again, dummy over here, you would think. This argument, as if it's some patriotic ground to keep the government from becoming too frisky, is ridiculous. Having the government becoming too frisky? Frisky? Now, this right here, this tells you two things. One, the man is completely detached from frickin' reality. And to use the word frisky, he's trying to dumb it down, play it down, so it's not as strong as what it really is. It's called propaganda. It's called deceit, which is a lie. And the Second Amendment stinks, and you don't want some patriotic ground. This is what he says, a patriotic ground. It's not a patriotic ground to keep the government from becoming too frisky, you dummy. That's a responsibility. That's a duty. That's our job. The government has their job to follow the Constitution, and so do we. We both have a job to do. This document is for everybody, Mr. Rivera. It's not just for the government to follow. It's not just for the cops. Not just for the lawyers. It's for everybody, the citizens. Everybody. It's not a patriotic ground. Again, it's a responsibility. And if you want to call it a patriotic ground, all right. Okay. I don't have a problem with being patriotic. But it's not a patriotic ground. It's not a battle cry. It's not a Tea Party battle cry. It's the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment tells you why the Second Amendment is in the Constitution. And to keep the government from turning frisky, Mr. Rivera, well, that is the only reason for the Second Amendment. Again, I know you're getting up there in age. I think you're in your early 70s. So maybe you got a little dementia. Maybe you got a little Alzheimer's or something. Maybe you got a little something. I don't know. Maybe you're back on the cocaine. I don't know, man. But pretty sure that they taught you some kind of constitutional something when you went to law school. And they had to teach you that. Or was your professor one of those, anti-patriotic grounders? Just shut up. But, it just goes to show you that, you've got, I don't know. But what I find in a lot of these people, they're overtly, completely on the other side. And it becomes disingenuous to me. He's trying to play this down. For whatever reason, he's got some kind of investment in this new world order that we have going on in this country. This new whatever. This hope and change. There's people that are still supporting this. Oh, it's got to work. It's got to work. We put enough positive energy in. It's got to work. Well, no. Positive energy is good. And you can't do anything without positive energy. It doesn't matter what it is. But it's not working. It's never worked. And it never will work. It's time to stop defending it. And, Mr. Rivera, again, the Second Amendment is in the Constitution, too. Specifically, keep the government from turning too frisky. That's its purpose. Not for nothing, but that is its purpose. You don't have to like the amendment. You think it stinks? Okay, fine, it stinks. But outdated, that doesn't even make any sense. What do you mean by it's outdated? Your brain is outdated. What are you talking about? Outdated. That doesn't even make any sense. Outdated. Outdated. What do you mean outdated? What does that mean? I guess he's got the John McCain 21st Century Handbook. What is this all of a sudden? All of this, well, it's outdated. What does that mean? Well, it's outdated. Okay, but what does it mean? Well, I no longer fits in the times. Well, what do you mean times? What do you mean it doesn't fit in the times? How does that not fit in the times? What, do you think the government won't get too frisky? Well, no, they're the government. That's not their job. Oh, yeah, they're out there caring for me. All I got to do is vote Democrat, and they'll take care of me. I don't even know what that means, Mr. Rivera, that it's outdated. Because there's guns. And because there's guns, you have to take them away. Well, there's too many people got guns. Well, you can block all gun sales from gun shops, but you're going to get black market guns. And yeah, he did make one good point, though, that mental patients should not get guns. However, this is what scares me, is when, first of all, when he said that I don't care about the slippery slope. This is where the slippery slope comes into play. Yeah, obviously. Somebody is just a total mental wacko. I mean, they're freaking out there. Okay, yeah, and they're seeing a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist doesn't know what the hell to do. Needs to be institutionalized, but he can't. The law won't let him. So I can understand that the doctor would say, no, this person can't get a gun. However, this is where the slippery slope comes into play that Mr. Rivera doesn't seem to care about. Again, until it's going to happen to him. But who decides who is mental? Anybody that sees a psychiatrist? What if somebody, just wants to see one? What about cops? They shoot somebody, they have to go see a psychiatrist afterwards. Find out if they're mentally fit to get back on the street, shoot somebody else. So does that mean the cop can't get a gun now? I mean, where does it end? When does it end? But I do understand mental patients, yeah. If somebody, I could see where you could, if you could work it out, if you could find people that are honest, but see, that's the problem. But if you talk to a doctor, and you get the doctor's note saying, no, this guy can't get a gun, or yeah, this guy could get one, but the doctor's going to say no, because he's just going to go out there to try to protect his own ass. But how do you determine whether somebody is mentally fit to get a gun or not? Well, there's a lot of work to do. One, maybe put them on a waiting list. I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what the solution is. But pointing your finger and blaming everybody, and blaming guns, and blaming this when they don't understand. And then he said something else here. This is what really drove me nuts. He says if he couldn't get a gun, and the only thing that he had was a knife, and he went running around the streets, he would not have been as effective. Well, he forgets that, one, he killed 3 people with a knife before he went on the rampage. Then he ran people over before he even shot anybody. And then he shot somebody. Then he ran somebody else over. What people don't seem to understand, and this is where the problem is, this is why we will never get this whole gun solution figured out. It's not the gun. The gun is a tool. You can kill anybody with anything. Mr. Rivera doesn't seem to understand that if he didn't have a gun and if he didn't have a knife, well, he could have run him over with his car. Look, it's the will to kill that makes you kill. If you have the will to kill, you will kill. That's what it is. It's not the gun. The gun is the tool. You don't have a gun, you don't have a knife, you got a stick, okay, fine. You can sharpen it, whatever. Or just beat him with it. If you have the will to kill, you're going to find a way to kill. It's not the gun. But I do understand, yeah, mental patients shouldn't get a gun. But if they can't get a gun, they can certainly get a kitchen knife. You can go to the dollar store and get one of them big knives. I got one I got at the dollar store. But you can get a knife. If you can't get a knife, well, you can find a stick. You can find something. You can hot wire a car, run a bunch of people over. If you have the will to kill, you will kill. That's what we need to work on. Stop trying to pass legislation so you look big and tough and you win the hearts and minds of your constituents so they'll reelect you, Mr. King, who used to be, and I say used to be, because I'm not going to vote for you no more. I'm in a different district now. I think you're still my, well, as of right now, until we can fire you, but you'll never get fired. I don't know why there's no Republican that won't challenge this man. There's got to be somebody on Long Island that will primary Pete King. This guy's got to go. This is the kind of stuff that we don't want in the Republican Party anymore. He wants to pass legislation now, put more in the government so nobody gets it. Well, anybody's going to get to a point, but then you're going to have this all connected with Obamacare. Your doctor's going to tell the government everything about you. Well, you can't get a gun. Why? Well, because you had your tonsils removed. What the hell's that of everything? Well, hey, look. You saw a doctor. You're mentally ill. You've got problems. You can't get a gun. The doctor could say anything he wants to. Well, that's what they did to Justina Pelletier. Oh, no. It's nothing to do with gas. No. It's all in her head. You don't know anything. We're the doctors, so we're going to take her. We're going to show you what real medical neglect is all about.